In this module, we shall be discussing the usability test, the design of graphical systems and web pages and the screens is a complicated process. In graphical systems, among the many design elements are the types of windows used, the way the windows are organized, what controls are selected to collect and present information, the way the controls are organized within one window and between several windows. Web page design factors include proper integration of text, graphics, navigation links, and controls, as well as the page size, writing for simplicity and clarity, the characteristics of browsers and monitors, and accessibility requirements. Also, some design decisions may be based on skimpy data and reflect the most educated guess possible at the moment. Sometimes the implications for some design decisions may not be fully appreciated until the results can be seen. To wait until after a system has been implemented to uncover and correct any system usability deficiency can be costly, time consuming for both the user as well as the developer. Indeed, after implementation, many problems may never be corrected because of time constraints and cost. To minimize these kinds of problems and ensure usability, interfaces must be continually tested and refined before they are implemented. So, in this video, we give an overview of usability testing process and the role it plays in the design. Its purpose is to provide an awareness of the testing procedures and methods and to summarize some basic testing guidelines. Sometimes tests are referred to as evaluations. These terms are generally interchangeable. So, the testing involves the following steps. They are identifying the purpose and scope of testing, followed by understanding the importance of testing, then developing a prototype, and developing the right kind of test plan, and designing a test to yield relevant data, and soliciting, selecting, and scheduling users to participate in the test, providing the proper test facility, conducting the tests and collecting the data, followed by analyzing the data and generating the design recommendations, and modifying the prototype if necessary, and testing the system again, evaluating the working system. So, testing can be repeatedly performed, followed by evaluating the working system. So, what do we mean by usability? What is usability testing? The concept of usability can be described by elements such as effectiveness, efficiency, engaging, error tolerance, and easy to learn. So, what do we mean by effectiveness? The completeness and the accuracy with which the users can achieve their goal. And efficient, the speed and accuracy with which the users can complete their task. Similarly, engaging means the degree to which the tone and style of the interface makes the product pleasing or satisfying to use. Error tolerant, how well the design prevents errors and helps with recovery from those that have already occurred. And it should always be easy to learn, that is, how well the product supports both initial orientation and increase in understanding of its capabilities. The usability testing The usability testing serves a twofold purpose. First, it establishes communication bridge between developers and users. Through testing, the developer learns about the user's goal, perceptions, questions, and problems. Through testing, the user is exposed to the capabilities of the system early on before design is solidified. Second, testing is used to evaluate a product. It's, it validates the design decisions. It also can be identified. It also can be used to identify potential problems in the design at a point in development process where they can be more easily be addressed. Testing also enables comparison of alternate versions of a design element when a clear direction is not immediately evident. How well the interface and screens meet user needs and expectations can also be assessed. Through thorough testing can also have other benefit for the developer, that is, it can prevent the massive embarrassment that often results from letting things slip through the cracks. So what is the importance of usability testing? Why do we need it? It is important for many reasons, such as developers and users possess different models. Developers and users have different expectations and levels of knowledge. Specialized knowledge possessed by developers enable them to deal with complex or ambiguous situation on the basis of context clues not visible to the user. Developers also frequently use terminology that does not always match that of the user. Similarly, developers' intuitions are not always correct. The intuition of a designer or anyone for that matter, no matter how good or bad they may be at what they do, is error prone. Then there is no average user. We all differ in looks, feelings, motor abilities, intellectual abilities, learning abilities, speed, device based control preferences, and so on. In keyboard data entry task, for example, the best operator will probably be twice as fast as the poorest one and with very fewer errors. The design must permit people with widely varying characteristics to satisfactorily and comfortably learn and perform the task or the job. And it's impossible to predict usability from appearance, just as it is impossible to judge a person's personality from his or her looks. It is impossible to predict a system's usability from its appearance. Sometimes the design standards and guidelines are not sufficient. Design standards and guidelines are an important component of a good design, laying the foundation for consistency. But design standards and guidelines often fall victim to trade off. They also cannot address all the countless design element interactions that occur within a completed system. Informal feedback is inadequate. Informal feedback is a hit and miss proposition. Parts of systems may be completely overlooked, or significant problems in other parts may never be documented at all. In all such cases, we need usability testing. And sometimes products are built in pieces almost always and have system level inconsistencies. This is normal and expected result when different developers work on different aspects of a system. We might also say that developers differ and there is no average developer there. And sometimes the problems may be found late or more difficult and expensive to fix. Unless they are really severe, they may never be fixed. Then you always have to go for unusability testing. Similarly, problems fixed during the development mean reduced support costs later. Support costs are directly proportional to the usability problems that remain after development. The more problems, the higher should be the support cost. So, all these are the reasons why we consider usability testing to be much more important. So, therefore, testing should begin in the earliest stages of the product development. It is an iterative process performed throughout a product's design life cycle. Paper or software prototypes are created and tested, and then design changes are made based on the test results. The redesigned product is then tested again and the process repeated as necessary until all performance goals are met. At this point, the iterative process ends and the testing should include as many users' tasks and many of the product's components as reasonably possible. We classify tests into four types. First one, exploratory test. Second one, assessment test. Third one, a comparison test. And the fourth one to be the validation test. We will alternatively be using the terms test as well as evaluation here. So each test type has a different objective and may be applied at different times in the system life cycle. So when do we perform an exploratory test? So exploratory evaluations, often informal, are conducted early in the design development process. Their purpose is to explore the user interface design features of a prototype, gather feedback on preliminary designs, verify the assumptions about users derived during the requirements determination. The data obtained in an exploratory evaluation is mostly qualitative in nature and is primarily based on the discussions with the user. The prototypes typically used include hand sketches and scenarios and interactive paper prototypes. So, what is assessment test? Assessment tests are usually carried out early or midway in the development process after a conceptual model has been created that incorporates information gathered during an exploratory test. The purpose of assessment test is to establish how well the user tasks are supported and to determine what usability problems might exist. The evaluations are conducted using user task descriptions and the measures of the level of usability of a system can be obtained. The outcome of this evaluation may result in a refinement of the system's requirements. followed by comparison evaluations. Comparison testing may be performed at any stage in the development process. When two or more design alternatives exist, either of which may appear possible, a classic experiment may be developed to compare them directly. Two or more prototypes can be constructed, identical in all aspects except for the design issues. Then the speed and accuracy measures are collected and the user preferences are solicited. Similarly, validation testing are conducted towards the end of the development cycle or once the system is put into use. The purpose is to ascertain that the system meets a predetermined usability objective. They may also be conducted to determine how well all of the components of a system work together. The result of this evaluation is a determination about whether the components of the interface do or do not meet the required levels of performance. This always involves all the members of the design team in the testing to ensure common reference point for all. Involving all members also permits multiple insights into the test results from different perspectives of team members.